And it really inspires me seeing these people, these underground people on SoundCloud, and a lot of them are editing themselves and whatnot. And to see them make something, so great, or something I like so much, it really pushed me to try to, think of different ways that I could do music. And so you can see, there's groups of my songs that sound the same, that are all kind of from the same couple months. And then, there's other songs that are still sad, still kind of have the same message, but I conveyed it in a different way, because I find different styles, I hear different people. And then another thing I wanted to point out was it was sophomore year at some point, I believe early sophomore year, when CantEvenReed reached out to me on Reddit. I had posted, I was just kind of getting into the music. I was just kind of then like, all right, I want to do this. I had a very, very, very basic understanding of GarageBand, and I had some Apple earbuds. Yeah. So I was experimenting with different flows, and whatnot. I was trying, fucking around with songwriting. And I posted, I can't remember what the exact forum is now on Reddit, but I have posted, I'm a young artist out of Ohio. I'm trying to make some connections. I'm trying to develop my sound, who's trying to work, what y'all trying to do. And I remember he posted, it was a very short message, he was just like, I got something for you. Hit my DM. Just something like that. Just two very short sentences. And I was like, oh man, I wonder what we're going to get into. And so I messaged him, and he sent me a song that him and his friend were working on. And it was called Way Too High, which is actually what my first album is named after, because that was my really first official song. And he produced it. He mixed me in, mastered the whole thing, all that. And that was kind of, if you go back to the first album and listen to that, that's really the basis of my music, was from there, because it was after I listened to Lil Peep, after I listened to all these underground artists, after I listened to the people that were in the grade above me, 2 grade above me music. It was after that, then I met him, and it was like, I'm locked in at this point. I know what the fuck I'm trying to sound like.
So that album was more of a collaborative album. It wasn't.
Oh yeah, because he put all the beats together on there. He helped me get all the features together. Like I told him, I'm like, yo, I want Scrub on this one. I want Juice on this one. I want trying to think of other people. There's a few people on Reddit that I got, features myself, but it was, he pulled together probably 90% of those features on the album. He mixed me, he mastered everything, he did the beats up, all that sort of thing. So I do, even though he's he was featured on the Peep remix that we did. And then we did Mental Break, the last song, together. I'm trying to think if he's on any other ones, but he wasn't featured on a ton of them on the album, but he did all the legwork for that. So I do 100% consider that a collab album. And if you look on the cover, I believe it says, CantEvenReed on it, and then he's featured under a different name. Y'all can go check that out. But yeah, that album, definitely a collab album, and it was a good one too, definitely.
Yeah. And that's also another thing that you should point out is when you're first just getting into writing music, wanting to do your own flow, your own melody, your own beat, that kind of thing. I would definitely look into finding different people in your area. Maybe there's someone that you can relate to, or even on the internet, there's so many things that you could do. Just try and find connections, try and find people that you can collaborate with. That's a really good thing that I would like to point out.
Yeah, I mean, because if it wasn't for him reaching out to me, I don't really know what I sound like at this point, because I mean, not only did he help the direction in my sound, but I mean, he's helped me so much, let me know what's up with the mixing, the mastering. I mean, whenever I got a question about that, he can always give his insight. And then as far as, strategic releases of certain songs and projects and whatnot, it's so nice to be able to bounce ideas back and forth. And, without that help, because, we came up in a small town, and And if you didn't sound exactly like how the people at school sounded, they ain't gonna work with you. And I had that problem because I was like, I have so many artists right there in the school at my disposal, and I couldn't get none of them to work with me. Pretty much at this point, everybody, whether you were from school, whether you're from out of state, whatever it is, I've pretty much gotten to work with everybody that I value as an artist and as a person.
Yeah.
And not to say that that I don't want to work, do any more feature. Like, of course I do. I still want to keep meeting people. I still want to keep making connections. I still want to do all that. It's just, it's crazy to see the difference of how, that one verse from someone I went to school with would have been, a life changer for me. And now that I've gotten, to this point where I've kind of figured a lot of this shit out with people that actually have the same goals, the same kind of taste in music, in mind to help me through the way, I feel like I'm in a way better spot now working with CantEvenReed, and he's under a bunch of different names. I think 3 is CantEvenReed, 90 Skid, and 13 Days if y'all want to go check him out. But working with him, working with all his friends in Denver, making songs with them, getting inspiration from them and mixing tips and all that kind of thing. Looking back on it, I'm glad that, it was them that I worked with, and I stopped chasing these other people that I thought were the coolest people in the world, And it was like when he sent me the first song to get on after we had met on Reddit, I heard that, and as soon as I was sitting on the couch right over there, and as soon as I heard that, I was like, this is going to be amazing. Like, this is the sound I want right here. Like, and we lived in such a small town. A lot of the music that everyone was making, of course, all sounded the same because they all wanted to do the same thing so they could all work with each other. And I heard this, and it was so unlike anything that I had ever heard around here, like an amateur artist or a younger artist make. And I'm like, oh my God, I finally found people that want to do the music that I want to do and are willing to take a chance, working with someone that was so inexperienced, didn't know his sound. And so that for sure, I'm 100% glad for, because without that, I don't know what I'd be sounding like right now. I don't know if I would have been motivated, if I didn't have the help to help me develop my sound, develop my mixing skills, give me advice on dropping strategically and in such a way, to get more views, to where more people will care. I found the importance in catchy cover art. There's so many different strategies and processes that I learned through these certain connections that I don't think I would have gotten if I would have kept chasing the same people I was chasing,
Yeah.
And through doing all that, I was actually able to loop back around and get a feature from the one dude from school that I really wanted to get a feature with, that I never thought I'd ever work with him. Never. And I finally, after doing my own thing for all this time, to be able to loop back around and him, be like, all right, yeah, I'll slide the verse, let's do something. That was just crazy to me. And, that was kind of one of the little things that showed me, okay, I'm doing something at least a little bit right at this point.